Traders, I'm back in the UK after 2 weeks break. There's plenty to talk about. We've got a nice bullish market. There should be some good opportunities this week, and maybe we just don't need to stress about anything right now. Let's have a look at the chart. Having a very quick look at the economic calendar for this coming week. There's not much happening Monday and Tuesday. We can see really we kick off with potential, a rate hike happening out of the UK. Generally, inflation seems to be coming back under control. So most of this really makes sense. Yes, there's some unemployment numbers coming out of the US, and Powell's going to be testifying. I don't expect much there. And then, of course, throughout Friday, there'll be lots of PMI, flash PMI data, or just PMI data in general. And so this is going to add a little bit of volatility, but there shouldn't be any major shocks to the system. I expect the markets to be, we'll see what kind of moves they have. It could end up being actually a bit of a boring week if there isn't much to excite the markets. But yeah, this is what I'll be keeping an eye out and just making sure that my positions are taken care of before this high impact news comes out. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the VIX. So mainly the point here is that the volatility index is relatively low. I've seen a couple of posts occasionally on Twitter because I get all kinds of posts, as does everyone else. And, there are comments saying, well, the last time we were this low, we had a bit of a market crash. But actually, that's ridiculous. Okay, so the idea here is that you can see that it spends a lot of its time at these low areas. That in itself is not an indication that we're going to have a market crash. It's actually when the volatility starts to spike up that's really where we're in a little bit of trouble. So I just want to highlight this. To me, this could just simply, it just simply implies that the market could be potentially boring. And that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So let's have a look at the dollar index. So I've been away from the charts predominantly. It's the longest that I have, I believe, not been engaging in the markets since I started trading. It was just a 2-week vacation, but it was just impractical for me to try to maintain what I normally do. So I took a proper break. Okay, so let's just have a look at the dollar index has actually arrived at a key level. This was resistance. We've got a little bit of a bullish candle. We are overextended. This could be a level that finds support, and subsequently this week, we see a bit of a move to the upside, which could just be a temporary move to the upside. So it's not completely unreasonable to think that might happen. The thing that I find interesting here is we had a bullish candle. We had a bullish candle here in February, and we had a bullish candle in May. And so effectively what is actually happening now is price is ranging. Okay, this to me would have been a double bottom. I would have expected price to break higher. However, the retracement is quite deep. So what I'm going to look for this week, it's certainly Monday, is to see if we drop lower. Otherwise, do we find support, find ourselves retracing, and therefore get a stronger dollar and a weaker euro? All right, in principle, it's not unreasonable to think the dollar is going to continue to weaken. I just wanted to highlight it is overextended, and I'd love to see it pull back this week. So any kind of pullbacks here would be potential opportunities, buying opportunities for swing traders looking for pullbacks and then looking for a continuation. Same thing here, sterling. So that's an old one, outdated again. I've been away. Feels like I've been away forever. We've had a really nice strong move, broken into all-time highs. All-time highs. What is wrong with me? Sorry, guys. I'm actually just out of the habit of speaking. So we've got a really nice break here. I'm looking for pullbacks and looking for trend continuations. And that weekly chart looks very, very nice and healthy. Doesn't look that overextended. It is certainly overextended on the daily, but not so much on anything else. It looks nice and bullish. It's coming up into that 50-period moving average. And so that might provide a bit of resistance. But yes, what I'm looking for this week, pullbacks, and then looking for trend continuations. So euro dollar as well. It's not as strong as the pound right now. Aussie dollar, US dollar, also same thing again here. You see a nice break, definitely overextended, and looking for that to now do pullbacks and a continuation to the upside. Same thing with Kiwi dollar. For the most part right now, what I'm looking for is to see a weaker dollar continue, but with retracements throughout the week. Okay, dollar yen. Dollar yen continues to climb. Okay, so we can see, we'll have a look at the yen crosses, but for the most part, it's very steady, kind of ticking on here. We can see we hit a bit of a consolidation breakout, and I would say the same thing here. For day trading, I love the idea of potentially seeing continuation to the upside here. There's a bit of bearish divergence there, but I'm looking for this to continue at least in the shorter term, especially if we're going to get we'll see if we get that dollar weakness, what's going to happen with that. But yeah, any kind of pullbacks here, looking for continuations there. I'll have a look at the yen crosses in a moment and see whatever else is happening there. By the way, just a very quick thank you to all of you who do follow my channel and who follow my videos and the regulars. I really do appreciate that, and I really appreciate the interaction, by the way. So here, dollar Swiss is starting to look more and more bearish. All right, so again, a little bit overextended to the downside, so there could be some pullbacks this week, but I'm looking for that to continue down. That weekly chart certainly looking way more bearish than bullish, and therefore I expect it to, if we can break through this level, recent level daily support resistance, to continue down. It's not just you. We've had some very much mixed signals for the last few months, and the expectation, by the way, if you've been following me for a while, that the expectation is that 2023 is going to be like that, and we might then see, because there's just a lot of signals that imply, the market is going through a bit of something, and therefore we would look to see the market start to find its way more 2024. So dollar CAD here looking very nice and bearish. Pullbacks and continuations for me. Absolutely, you can sit on my watch list this week looking for that. So let's run through the yen crosses. Just want to see how they're looking, the yen, the cross pairs. So we can see also very nice overextended. Need to see that pull back, but that looks great. Let's have a look at pound yen. You can see the same thing. This is ridiculous. It's very overextended. These are very big weekly candles. I'd be looking for potentially this week. There could be some good day trading opportunities if there's a correction. So what would I be looking for? Well, I'd be down on that 4-hour time frame. Start to look for bearish divergence creeping in, which we're not seeing now. None of that. Let's look at the 1 hour here. Here, just most amazing thing, and no bearish divergence. So what could happen is Monday we see that this continues up, and then it starts to fail, and we start to see bearish divergence creeping in, and then we start to see. I expect it this week. I would be surprised if it manages to keep going for one more week. It can happen, but I would be surprised. It's already very overextended. Look at this. This is crazy. Look at the size of this monthly candle. The last time we had one that big was 2022. Okay, almost over a year ago. But look at that. So almost certainly, I think day trading opportunities will look for pullbacks, looking for shorting opportunities when they start to, when the trend changes, and then looking for trend continuation if we get it this week, which might only be Thursday or Friday. So it looks like this week it's going to be more caution, not buying, and just holding back on that. Okay, let's carry on. Let's have a look at Russian ruble, see if anything's happening there. Nope, nothing of any news there. Gold still hovering in this area. That's a very nice bullish candle. I'm just going to move this up here. It really is trying, it's desperately trying to stay above that 1900 level. If you go down to here, it's certainly trying to stay bullish there, and has already broken the lows. So how I interpret this type of behavior is that there are slightly more sellers in the market than buyers. So it is bearish, but there's lots of buyers here, meaning that it hasn't capitulated, the buyers haven't given up yet, and therefore it's either going to range or ultimately I expect it to break higher. But in order for that to be the case, it would have to break back up above this 1981 to pick up that momentum again. Silver really looking nice and strong at this time on the daily. The weekly, doesn't look so great. And the monthly is just very wishy-washy. It's not offering much clarity here, but it is looking, that level, you can see a very nice crisp response to that level of support. So more bullish than bearish. Let's see how the other metals are doing. Copper looking relatively bullish, but now at a major resistance level within a weekly downtrend. And therefore, I want to see if it can break above that. Natural gas, still turning around, still that bullish divergence. Looks as though it's still going to manage to. It really is. You could just such a slow turnaround thing. And I was talking about a turnaround in this area, which goes back a very long time. So that's February, and it looks like it's only managing to kind of do that now. Sort of an inverted head and shoulders, and then should this again, I might be looking for long opportunities on that this week. Crude oil, so West Texas also trying to stay bullish. You can see there's a level of support here. Looking at that, there we go, very nice. Sorry, let me just get rid of that. That was a mistake there. Just looking, that really looking nice and bullish. I really like that. So that's a good, strong close. This could be finding some strong support. There may be some opportunities on crude oil to the upside this week. Brent as well, same thing again. Look, there's definitely something going on over here. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mark that as a bit of a zone that I want to sort of pay attention to. But there we go. If we can break through that, we should see it start to gain momentum to the upside here. And again, I wouldn't expect it to trend very much, but it is looking bullish. There could be shorter term opportunities there. All right, let's run through some of the more sort of lesser known commodities. Nice and bullish on wheat, even though it is sort of within that downtrend, starting to look more and more bullish there. Coffee, no, look at that. That's garbage. Can't trade that, nothing there. So commodities traders will be passing on that. Sugar looking good. So there we go. Very nice pullback and taken off there. And now starting to produce a bullish candle and a continuation. So we can remove this, but looks good. It's still overextended. And actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I don't like this. I'm going to mark that. So that's our resistance level. Let's see if we get past it. If I ignore the monthly, the weekly and daily look good. They look bullish. So this is my only concern here. I really would have liked for it to, I've said this in my past analysis, in case this is your first one, that I was expecting price to come down to 24 recently, but also certainly at some point expect it to do a bigger correction. But it doesn't look like it's going to be doing it now. Cotton sideways. Immediately all I see is this. That's garbage. There's nothing here. So walk on, move on. Okay, let's look at the global indices. Principally, that's a nice bullish bar here. We've clearly broken through this downward bearish momentum line. We've broken to the upside. So that's gone. It adds no more value now. And yes, it's battling with resistance, but I'm still more bullish than bearish here. So I'd be looking for buying opportunities at these major levels for now. There's not enough data there to imply that we have an issue. This I'm going to clean up as we go. I need some pullbacks, looking for buying opportunities this week. Okay, so any kind of pullback to 4,400 would be fantastic to see that continue upwards. Nasdaq is still looking really good. Again, I'd be looking for pullbacks. There's no bearish divergence here. One of the things that the way it could unfold over the next couple of weeks, price pulls back, fails to or does a double top, and then we start to see a bit of bearish divergence, and then we get a weekly retracement. But overall, market nice and bullish, and potentially just not even going to consider stopping anytime soon. Okay, so let's just see how that goes. Missed some opportunities here. This is what happens. You go away, and this was actually, in hindsight, and I acknowledge this is fully a hindsight, this is a beautiful double bottom in an uptrend, guys. This is actually, that would have been an entry opportunity, and that was actually a really loud opportunity that I missed. I missed it. Okay, that's fine. But it's worthwhile mentioning it because you got to teach your brain to spot these things going forward. All right, so consolidation here, not a lot happening with the Russell, but I think it's likely to break out. That's a very nice, strong bullish candle. I'd like to see a break out of this consolidation. I'm just going to mark it again. I like to do this so that it reminds me that it's in a range if I forget that temporarily. Sometimes you can go down to a lower time frame and you forget something like that, so you see it on the daily for day trading purposes. This is a bit, look, it's uptrending on the daily for the FTSE. Still above that 50-period moving average. It's just battling with these moving averages over here. And it's breaking through resistance. More bullish than bearish. I'm good on that. The DAX looking nice and bullish. Pullbacks here, looking for buy opportunities. The ASX also very, very nice here. Very nice move. It's got to get through this sort of bearish downward trending line. It's going to. All right. Should be this week. I expect that to break higher. So then we look at the Nikkei. Is ridiculous. It's having one of the best periods it's had in many, many years, and it's overextended. There's our nice volume candle, but it could potentially continue. So there we go. Not expecting much to change there. Now on to equities of interest. Apple looking good. No bearish divergence. Nice and strong. Doesn't mean, I've had this in the past where I go look nice and strong, looking for corrections and pullbacks and re-entries, and then you get a big correction. But corrections are always scary in these markets anyway. Retracements. I'm looking for continuation here. Bit of a consolidation here. You can see bearishness there. You can see a bit of exhaustion settling in over here. So any kind of a pullback to me would make sense on the weekly. But in principle, I'm still bullish on it. It's looking good at this time. For me, I would start to pay attention if we broke below these kind of 120 levels there. AT&T, which has been struggling, that is now a very strong bullish turnaround. That looks good. Very strong bullish candle here. My expectation is it's going to try to work its way back up to the top here. ARC, baby, starting to push up, breakthrough there, looking good. Yep, nothing more to see here, looking good. I expect these to continue going. Glencore, also same thing. Yes, I'll mark it. There's a little bit of a level here. I expect it to be able to get through that. So any kind of pullbacks and continuations. What I'm saying is, for the most part, I expect most of these to be bullish. Tesco is, look, it's a nightmare, but I've been waiting for this to come back to this area for several weeks now, and it's in this area. So this is the right place for it to break out to the upside. And therefore, my expectation is to see this do that at this time. Look, there was this kind of area here. We've got some bearish divergence. We've got a bearish candle here. We have broken the low. But given that all the other charts are looking really bullish, the odds are kind of 60-40 that this is going to break to the upside. And if it's going to turn around, this is the area where it's going to do it. Amex. Okay, finally I can get rid of this head and shoulders pattern. It's not going to happen. And it looks good. There we go. Nice and bullish. It's had a good run recently. I expect it to keep trying to push its way up. Berkshire Hathaway also look good. Same thing. I marked on that because that's what I was looking at that as a possibility. But when I put a question mark, it means I'm not as confident in my assessment. I go, look, that's a bullish signal, and it actually was. There it goes, takes off. There'll be times when I'm confident it's a bullish signal and times when I'm uncertain, but it is a bullish signal technically, and so I'll just put a question mark next to it. Coca-Cola, very nice. High lows going in. Inside bullish candle, very nice and bullish. Okay, nice and bullish, guys. So far, BP, I mean, what do we think is going to happen here? It's got a strong seeding there. It's produced a bullish inside candle here, a bullish candle here. For me, it's more about if we break to the upside, but I do think there's it's a fair possibility. Okay, don't think it's going to go anywhere just yet. Sorry, let's just get rid of that, and let's get rid of that. Cool. ExxonMobil will be the same. Looking to see if it holds. Crude oil, as I said, if crude oil is bullish, these will respond. General Electric looking really good so far. Still within their range, but looks nice and bullish. There's really not much to say here other than these are kind of looking nice and bullish. And then throughout the week, for those of you in my team, I will be doing back to my daily analysis. Okay, every evening this week, I'll be doing my market scans. Okay, looks nice and good. Adidas looking good. I'm happy to see this. Because that's a nice bullish engulfing candle. It's broken up through a level so far, which means we should now be free to move to the upside. Okay, it's also gapped up. It's a nice bullish candle, closed over the line. I'll allow it. This is just garbage. You could just see this doesn't know what's going on. Nothing here knows what's really kind of going on here because it's sort of all over the place. It's been trending higher, but then it produces fresh lows. It's just acting up. It's just acting very weird, but it looks okay. Meta is right now, it's just a cash cow. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen, look at this performance. Not to say that means it's going to keep going. The candles are starting to get smaller, so it's going to take a bit of a breather, probably at about 300. So it's probably going to keep going till it gets here, and then maybe we'll see a bit of a correction. But man, it is hungry. Morgan Stanley looks okay. Nice little inside bullish candle here. Still potentially going to produce a higher low. More bullish than bearish. Danger zone, as I said, for NVIDIA because it's overextended. I'm going to leave this here. We've gapped up. We're starting to stall a bit. The reason I've marked the danger zone is I expect this as an area where we could see a retracement. So notice we had a big candle here. If we get a smaller candle here, we could. Could we go higher? Could we go up to 500? Yes, we could, but we are certainly overextended now. And there has to be a point. You've got to go, okay, we're now at a point where I'm going to be a bit more cautious. So what could happen as an alternative is NVIDIA kind of goes sideways for a couple of months and then keeps going. Okay, Netflix looks good. Overall, looking very good. PayPal has started to break a bit higher. It's the weakest of the lot on my list. But I wanted to get back up above here. I'm desperate for you guys to do well because I've always used PayPal. But that doesn't mean it's a good investment. It just means that I like the brand, I like the product. Trading, investing, and using products are different things. Peter Lynch, who wrote One Up on Wall Street, said, "Look, if there's a if there's a product you really like to use and you can't ever see yourself not using it, then you should buy stock in it." That was effectively what he said. But these days, I'm not sure if that's always the case. But I'm influenced most heavily by Ray Dalio, Michael Burry. Raymond at Pensioncraft has got some great stuff. Raymond at Pensioncraft, and there's also obviously the obvious ones: Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. Technical traders, Larry Williams is the king, man. Okay, so got some good stuff here. Stalling. Okay, this is something I would pay attention to here. Just this kind of stuff. We need to get past whatever's going on here. There's something going on here. Doesn't really matter. It's not important what it is. We just need to get past that. FedEx doing okay. This is a bit of a megaphone kind of pattern. Should break out to the upside. We'll see. It's broken through that bearish downward trending line. Looks good. This was just basically a very messy bull flag. Looks good. What do we got? Tesla's looking. Oh, so crucial, important, very important. We have broken outside of this. I can finally delete this. And I can delete this as well. And then interesting, just these little things where you kind of comment and go, it's broken through, that's a bullish candle, can it take off? And it does. So again, for those of you who follow me regularly will know that I do these things. I just go, that's interesting. Sometimes I trade off it, sometimes I don't. I just go, it's a bull signal, but if I am conflicted psychologically or emotionally. If, for example, I own Tesla stock, or I have an issue with Elon's, white nationalist stuff on Twitter and all that crazy stuff, and the conspiracy theory mongering and all that crazy stuff. But I love Tesla products, so there's some conflict there. I'm not, so that I've kind of voiced my opinions on it, but Tesla has its following, man. It's got a massive following. Ironically, not the same people that are Elon Musk fans necessarily, but probably electric vehicle fans. Statistically, in the US, it's really interesting. There are more Democrats who own Teslas, because they tend to be more green based, which is interesting. If you don't know anything about US politics, you've got a two-party kind of system. The one side these days is very extreme. They've become very extreme. The one side is very kind of pro-green. The other side is Republicans are very pro-farmer, pro-oil industry. And Elon Musk is now a fully fledged Republican, so he's gone that way. He's got a very extreme base, but his clients, ironically, way more Democrats. Just an interesting little bit of trivia. It's fascinating there. You can like who you like. I'm not judging. It was just kind of, that's how it is. So that's really good to see them, by the way, to see Tesla kind of do that, start to break its way to the upside. This is very bullish. That's a solid uptrend on the monthly. We've broken this downward trend line. That can go as well. Needs about, with a bit of respect, I think this is going to 300. There we go. Vanguard. Nice and bullish. Look, we do need pullbacks. So any kind of pullbacks, retracements this week, I like the look of that. Let's look at bonds. Just a mess at the moment. Not too worried about them. There's nothing significant here. I would say that I find that a little bit interesting. So I'm just going to mark that and see what happens. No, that's not what I meant to do. Here we go. Oh, okay. It's just going to be like that. Cool. Cryptos, which means I haven't looked at the charts for 2 weeks, but I'm telling you, this is a bullish sign. So I had that as my bullish thing, but forget about that. Check this out. So take that away, take this away, and just look at this. That's it. That's your kind of line in the sand. This is a bull flag, which would ordinarily mean, so I'm just going to configure the line. I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit dotted, dashed, whatever. And yes, this is a possible way where somebody might get in. They might look to buy at this point when it breaks through that, level. Stop loss below this if it's going to be the case, or just once it breaks up, just start to buy. And there's a bullish candle here. So this is a separate type of approach: entry above the high, stop loss below the low. Those are your things that you can see the major level here. And so it's certainly understandable that if we can get back up above 30,000, it's going to pick up after that. But it looks good. So my assumption is Ethereum's also looking good. Same thing. All right, same thing. Just gonna draw that line. I'll do that. Doesn't matter, but that looks good. Okay. You can see how it's trying to stay above this level, and you can see where it is right now in this area here. So certainly once it breaks through that trend line, it will start to be, the momentum has shifted bullish. It's not as bearish anymore. That's it. Cool. Ladies and gents, I'm going to leave you with this. I'm sorry I've been away. I have missed these. I always feel guilty when I don't do them. I know that most of you follow them and appreciate them, and I appreciate that. And if you have any comments on this, please do it. And yeah, I'll be up for my evening market scans. All right. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic week. Obviously, as always, don't be silly. Look after your account and trade sensibly.